Hello everybody, welcome to my latest video. This one, as you will have told from the thumbnail and probably the description, is going to be based on Cyberpunk 2077. Now this is a very late look/stroke review and is based on the trial that is available on the PlayStation Store. Now interestingly, before I get into this, the PlayStation Store usually gives 2-hour trials, but for some reason Cyberpunk's was 5 hours. So I have played a considerable amount, close to 4.5 hours so far. Not considerable for the size of game, but definitely more than I would normally have played for this type of video. That being said, before we get into it, please make sure you do click the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out. I need to start saying that at the beginning because lots of people who watch my videos don't bother doing either, and it's probably because they don't get all the way to the very end. But yeah, please do like and subscribe. So let's get into what is Cyberpunk 2077 and what's it like today. So for those who don't know, Cyberpunk 2077 was one of those games that released in a whole bunch of controversy. Now, I played the original trial, or demo, I can't remember whether it was a trial or a demo if I'm being honest, and it was a buggy mess. Within the first 3 minutes, Jackie, the guy currently on screen, walked through a wardrobe. Now, it wouldn't have been too bad if he actually clipped through it, but no, he walked through it and disappeared into it, came out the other side, knocked the wardrobe over and everything fell about. So, although he managed to actually go through the wardrobe, the physics was still attached to it, which was just a little bit disturbing. I'm happy to report that most of those sorts of things have been fixed. Now, not all of them. Some of them are still around, such as glasses just appearing out of nowhere in people's hands, for example. But other than that, in the main part, they have been fixed. Now, Cyberpunk is a role-playing game, first and foremost. It's a role-playing shooter, of course, being the type of game that it is, set in the future, but it is a role-play game nonetheless, so you can expect copious amounts of skills, copious amounts of attributes, and equipment. And, to be honest, you do get quite a lot. Not as in drops all the time, but there are quite a lot of options available. Now, this is similar in playstyle in some respects to Mass Effect, and the reason I say that is because you have conversation choices which do seem to make a difference. It's something that appeared in The Witcher, which was CD Projekt Red's last gaming series, but when this first came out, I don't think it worked very well. That being said, they have, as I said, fixed quite a lot since then. Now, I must handle the elephant in the room. It's a very big elephant, but it's that although the game was terrible on release, it's now pretty decent. I must admit, it's not my normal type of game. I much prefer fantasy over sci-fi, but only when it comes to games, oddly enough. I prefer sci-fi movies to fantasy movies. Don't ask me why, it's just my weird way of seeing things. But as far as games are concerned, I do prefer sword, shield and spells over guns. That being said, I still really did have fun with this game. I can imagine that if CD Projekt Red decided to do a Warhammer game, please CD Projekt Red, if you're listening, please do a Warhammer game. I can honestly see it being really good. If they did a 40k game with this sort of level of immersion, even if you're just playing as a hiver, then I think it would be really good. And that, from me, is actually pretty high praise, because I don't say that about anybody. But I do think they've done a good job here. And, you know, there are issues, don't get me wrong, but at the same time they are issues that can be resolved. They have already resolved a number of those problems, and I can only see them resolving more as the game matures. Now, the gunplay is not one of the issues. It's pretty solid. Now, of course, as with all games on my channel, I am playing on console, so there is a fair bit of aim assist included. It's just something because the control system is nowhere near as good as point and click on a mouse. Personally, I prefer it, simply because I think you actually have to move your arms. That's the way the controller makes it feel, at least for me. There is none of this flicking it really quickly as though you're just looking in a different location. I always think of mouse and keyboard, or mouse specifically, to be more of a look tool rather than a move tool. So you look with your eyes with the mouse, but you move your arms with a controller. Just my way of looking at it. But hopefully, if you're watching this, and I will have hopefully tagged this as PS5, you will know that this is PS5, so there is aim assist, you will be seeing it, and you will wonder why I'm getting so many headshots. I wish I was that good naturally, unfortunately I'm not. But yeah, like I was saying, the gunplay in this is pretty good, pretty decent. Now, being a Cyberpunk game, there are some pretty horrific looking enemies. And by that I mean, you've already seen people with no face. They've literally just got a big sensor array for a face. Very disturbing. But again, it is something that you do tend to see in Cyberpunk games, and I hate to mention it again, but Warhammer 40k is very similar with tech adepts, so it's something that I am quite used to. Some of you may not be though, so do expect to see some pretty gruesome things. Now, gameplay wise, being an RPG, you can expect to do a lot of talking, and this is no different. It's not as bad as some of the RPGs out there. I'm looking at you, Rogue Trader, and games of that nature. Those things are predominantly talking, and when you get into combat, it's very slow paced and turn based. This is a shooter, so it's very, very snappy, very quick. When you get into combat, you really do know about it. Now, being a cyberpunk and futuristic game, there is hacking. Now, I have not picked a character who is a hacker, or if I have, I haven't got to a stage yet where I can utilise those skills. So unfortunately, in this video, you are not going to see any hacking on the screen. And by hacking, I mean in-game, not in real life, so please don't demonetise me. If I've managed to get monetised by when. Anyway, don't cause a problem for my channel. I'm talking about in-game hacking, not real hacking. I don't condone that. Please don't do it. It's bad. But anyway, you can do it in this game. I cannot, or have not been able to so far. It's possibly because I haven't got to that stage. When I do, I may do another video in the future, but we will see. Now, just like other games of this type, you do have different interactions. Now, on screen you will see that something hasn't quite worked out, and I was trying to figure out what had gone wrong. Quite literally, I interacted with the keypad, but for some reason it didn't interact, it just looked at, so I had to back out to then interact. Bit of a quirky bug, not game breaking, unless I couldn't then activate it, but it was a bit weird. I thought I was doing something wrong, but it was just something with the game. Now, here is one of those freaky people I was talking about. Why somebody'd do that to their face, I don't know. But anyway. Now, conversation-wise and character-wise, all of the characters I have met in the game so far have been quite interesting and pretty unique. Unique looking, unique characters, unique personalities, and voice lines. Like I say, you also have options of what you say to them, so it does give you more of a replayability because you can decide that you want to be a different type of character when you play through a second time, if you decide to do that, because these are quite long games. Now, unlike other games of this type, you do get to drive around. Now, I would say the driving is probably one of the worst parts of the game. It's functional, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not a driving simulator. Odd thing to say, but some people expect games to be masters at all types of genre if they include it in the game. This is not a driving game, it's a roleplay game. It has driving, it's not overly good, it's a little bit quirky, but it's passable. You can still drive, which is the main thing. I would say that every time I got in my car, I ended up in combat of some variety or another. I'm not really sure why. There was nothing that I did which made combat a thing, but as you can see, I was just getting hammered left, right and centre. Still don't know what I did, but anyway. Once you're in combat, you can, if they get in front of you, start shooting, as it shows on screen. None of them did during my gameplay recording, so unfortunately I can't show you what in-car combat's like. But I guess it's like normal combat, just while trying to steer at the same time. Now previously I mentioned skills. There are different types of skills in this game. You have passive skills, which are leveled up as you use them. So you don't get to put points in these at all. You get X amount of experience points whenever you perform an action, so headshots or criticals, etc. will give you experience points, and they will get put into these 5 different areas. Now there are I'm going to say attributes. The attributes are set into these 5 groups, so body, reflexes, technical ability, cool, and intelligence. You can assign points to each of those, so you can level it by 1 level. Initially when I was doing this, I didn't know what that did, but what it actually does is it allows you to get better perks in each of those areas. So for example, at attribute level 9, you can get a second tier of perks in each of these sections. So if we switch to the perks, in the technical ability we have this first line of perks, and they include things like extra health or combat stuff, so they're very much tied to your playstyle, I'm going to say. But you can see just above the bar it says Tech 8/9, and that basically means you can't get anything above that bar until you have 9 attribute points, which I think is a pretty decent idea. It's also something that happens in a number of other games, Titan Quest being the most obvious choice for me. I mentioned earlier about loot. You do have cosmetic things that do certain things to your character. Now I say that because weapons seem to make more of a choice. The rest of it seems to be more of a cosmetic look. It might just be that I have not so far unlocked armour. Potentially why, but they do seem to be more of the look of your character. You do have cyberware, quite extensive cyberware that you can get. I have only got the 2 parts that are attached on this screen, but there is an entire cyberware screen that you can go into. Weapons are, I'm going to say, limited to melee and ranged. I mean, what else is there, you say? But you do have grenades as well. I've only found 1 type of grenade, but I'm guessing that later on you can unlock multiple types. I've not even thought as to whether you can make a melee-only character. I'm guessing you can, and maybe that's something I will have a look at in the future. You can see on screen at the moment all of the cyberware options, so there are a lot. So I've gone back to some of the combat gameplay just for my finishing thoughts. I honestly think this game has made amazing strides since it released. Now, you'll find this type of video saying how great this game is compared to its starting everywhere on the internet, and by all means go and watch those as well, because they've probably played a lot more of it in its original format. I couldn't play its original format because there were game-breaking bugs for me. Simply, like I said, Jackie, the other guy with me, walked into a wardrobe and sent it sprawling. When that happened, I literally couldn't play anymore. Not because I was laughing so hard, I was, by the way, but because it did cause me problems. People were hiding in cupboards that I couldn't shoot through, for example. So I was getting shot and I could not retaliate. These sorts of things really did cause problems, and of course when you get bugs like that that prevent you from going any further in a game, you kind of turn it off and don't look back. I had heard that they'd made strides in making the game much better, so I thought I will see how long I had left on my trial, and as I said right at the beginning, it had gone from 2 hours to 5, so I had quite a long time left for some strange reason. But I'm kind of glad, because I do see myself, when I have some money, purchasing this game, because it's something that I do feel I could get into in the future. It's kind of got a Deus Ex vibe, but I don't know, something extra, which is saying something. Deus Ex, by the way, is another great game if you're interested. I may see if I have that still in my library. If I do, I may even do a back catalogue review on that one. But my advice, if you find this game in a sale bin or on sale on either of your preferred stores, that being Xbox or PlayStation, do consider giving it a go. It's definitely worth it these days. Would I pay full price for this? Possibly, if I could afford to. I do think it's going to be big enough and good enough now to warrant it, so it's definitely something that you should consider. I am going to leave the video there. End result, it's well, it's a good game. Definitely a good game. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. As I said at the beginning, please make sure you do click the like button, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and please make sure you share this video with your friends. I'm going to go. It's quite late here, so thanks. I will see you for my next video really soon. You all take care. Bye for now.